there is not a single better lab test than MVX Plus to find out how healthy you are and where your weak points are and what to do about them, and to track progress and then pivot to the next subject that your body's begging for relief from. We're going to go over MVX Plus case stories. MVX Plus is a new blood test that came out in January 2025. It is the absolute best blood test for human beings. It gives you a 30,000 foot view of your overall health, and it gives you the path to take for your health. There are 5 subjects within MVX Plus: infection, inflammation, toxicity, malnutrition, which all lead to mitochondrial dysfunction. So those are the main subjects within normal physiology, and when it goes haywire, you got to fix it. So MVX Plus tells you which of those 5 subjects you need to address first. You can track the progress over time. The test is really inexpensive. And then later you pivot to the next subject that your body's calling for. I'm using this test extensively with my patients, and I've taught this to about 2,000 doctors so far live. And I'm going to show you some results with people who have been using MVX Plus. And clinically, we're just getting better and better results. The best way to improve MVX is by using nutritional supplements and diet. That includes detoxing and then herbs to get rid of organisms, and drainage supplements to get rid of inflammation, eating a lot of protein, and vitamin B1. Those are really good for malnutrition. And then there's supplements specifically for mitochondrial dysfunction. MVX Plus also gives you a measurement of your longevity for the next 5 years. What are your chances of surviving? It's very detailed down to the 1 percentage point. And don't let it scare you, because you can just improve it, and you'll see that here in a moment. Okay, watch my cursor. So this is a 66-year-old female, and on April 30th of 2025, her total MVX score was 69. You want this to come down, but July 28th, on her 3rd test, she actually had a lung infection. It was pretty severe for 3 weeks, and she was just getting over that. So her total score went up by 2 points. But in the meantime, I had her on supplements for detoxing and fixing her digestion. And then on October 9th, her overall score dropped all the way down to 58. So this is a really significant change in her health. She felt a lot better. And I'm going to show you how she improved her survivability over the next 5 years. So her overall score was 69 at the beginning. That's right here. And if you go all the way to the side, she had a 40% chance of mortality in the next 5 years. But then her follow-up score was 58. That's all the way down here. And then watch, we take this line all the way across. Her chance of mortality in the next 5 years is 20. So she dropped her chance of dying by 20% in these 6 months. And she worked at it, and I helped her. And this statistic has been improved. This graph shows that she's going to live longer. And this lab test has been tested on over 300,000 people over the last 10 years. So we're not guessing. We know that these nutritional therapies that she did with me are actually helping her. She's on a high protein, low carb, low fat diet. She's lost weight. She's feeling energy. Her muscles are stronger. She's happy. And so this is verification that what we're doing is working. Within MVX, there's another index. It's called the Inflammation Vulnerability Index. It's right here. And you want this to be in the 20s. So she started off at 59. It went up to 75 because she had that lung infection. And now it's down to 47. This is one of the 6 factors of MVX. It's called glycate. It measures inflammation and infection. So her first score was 423. You want that to be below 300. And then, like I said, she had that lung infection for 3 weeks, and she was recovering for her second score. And her score went up to 623, but now it's down to 404. So it's better than it ever has been before. Her small molecule particle measures toxicity. You want that up to like beyond 18, 19. So she started off at 11, and then with that lung infection, it dropped down to 8.5. So you can have a lot of toxicity from infection. So gram-negative bacteria make a lot of toxins. They're called endotoxins. They're inside the body. But now she's at 14.3. So when people are up at 18, 19, they're happier. They're literally happier because their body's cleaner. It's like you take a shower, you feel better because you got out of the shower. Well, 6 months of detoxing, you just feel better. This is the 3rd index in MVX Plus. It's called the Metabolic Malnutrition Index. This is related to digestion and vitamin B1 status and protein intake. And you want this to be in the 40s. So notice that her first score was 74, then it dropped down to 57 when she was really sick, but now it's back up to 66. So when it comes to digestion like this, it can bounce around. And when you have like a sinus infection or asthma or toxins, it affects your gallbladder, your liver, your stomach. When you have a sinus infection, those organisms and mucus and toxins can drip down into the body, entering the stomach, causing, dysbiosis and problems in the gut. So what makes up the MMX, or metabolic malnutrition index, is 4 factors. The first one is citrate, and this should be down below 2.0. So you have to work on this. And this is more having to do with kidney clearance for her. So we have to add some kidney supplements, and some mitochondrial function needs to be improved. The valine is a protein that should be at 200, so it's climbed up too high. I think I need to help her digest food better. She's eating a high protein diet, but that needs to come down. And the leucine should be at 110. So it was at 67, and now it's doubled to 160. So we got to bring that down. So we got a little bit of work to do. That's the point of this test, is it tells us what's next. The isoleucine should be at 55. So it's climbed up from 56 up to 94. So we got to do something with her digestion, her capability of processing protein. But overall, her score went from 69, now it's down to 58. So that's a great improvement, and we know what to do next to make it even better. This is a guy who's diabetic. His first score was 34 back in March, and now it's 34, but he had a rough year. You can see his MVX went up to 40 and then 44. And so during this time, we're trying to figure out, like, what's happening? Why is your MVX getting worse? Here you can see his inflammation was going up, but then this last one was September 16th, and it dropped significantly to 17, which is really, really good. So even at 25, his first score was pretty good. 27 is pretty good. But 33, now we're getting up there. But 17 is excellent. So the inflammation vulnerability index comprises of glyc-A and small cell particle number. Glyc-A is infection and or inflammation, and we want this below 300. So you can see his first 2 scores were hanging around 400, and then it went up to 443. What happened was he was eating cheese and also artificially sweetened pop and some other like keto chemicalized foods, like dirty keto. And so he quit those artificial sweeteners and he quit the cheese, and this is what happened. So that's our theory. So you can pinpoint your health changes all the way down to specific dietary choices. I'm going to show you that a little bit more here in a moment on my tests. Small cell particle number is very high at 27.6. It's lab high, and it really should be like 18 to 22. So he got it down, which is really cool. It's nice to see this. For a while, I was thinking that 27 would be totally okay, but now I don't think so. I think it needs to be in that range of, let's say, 18 to 22. So he brought that down with his dietary changes and supplements. Now, the valine and then the leucine and isoleucine, these are proteins in the blood, and they need to be lower for him, especially since he's type 1 diabetic. So these amino acids are oftentimes either too high or too low. Really healthy people have a normal range. The normal range for valine should be around 200. So notice he was at 418, then 248, and then 329, now 246. So it's better than it ever has been before. The leucine should be around 110. So it was 145, then 125, 137, now 120. So again, it's better than it's ever been. We're just looking for improvement over time. And then the isoleucine should be at 55. So it was in the 70s, here's 87, now it's 48. So I'm very happy with these changes. He's happy with the changes. And we're looking for continued progress and improvement with his overall scores. But what do we have to work on next? This is citrate. This is the last of the 6 factors. It's been climbing. I want to see this below 2. And for him, I think we need some kidney support. But we'll have to see. But again, MVX tells you where to go next. It helps you pivot to the next subject, and that's his next subject. These are my scores. I've taken MVX once a month since January, and here it is October of 2025. My first score of MVX was too high at 55, and I had a gas leak at my house. I had terrible lung pain and heart pain. I fixed the gas leak, and 4 weeks later, my score dropped all the way down to 31, and I felt so much better. But then my third score, I had a sinus infection, so it bumped up to 39. I got rid of the sinus infection. 1 month later, my score was 29, and then 26, and I was doing really, really good. And then I started detoxing because I had to get this gas out of my body. So I started detoxing and I got worse. My score became 37 for 2 months in a row. And I was feeling better. I felt worse in that the lung pain came back and the heart pain came back. But that's what happens when you detox. You got to suck it up and get through it. I knew I was getting through it. But what happened to bring my MVX up to 43? I was eating mixed nuts and an organic protein bar, which was artificially sweetened. Those two foods made me feel worse. Now back here, even though when my score was 37, I broke my 1 mile record running and my 3 mile record running. So in my adult life, that month of July here was my best times for running. But then here with those foods, I felt terrible. It made my muscles feel like glue. So I was like, okay, what's happening? I stopped those foods and I started to recover. My score went from 43 to 39 to 31. That's the history of my year. But MVX helped me determine, like, hey, what are you doing over here? Go fix it. And yeah, you're detoxing, so deal with it. And then, oh, you're getting better. Your score is 31. Keep going. The goal again is 20s. Just get it as low as you possibly can. So you can see that it matches my IVX, my inflammation vulnerability index. And then my glyc related, that's the inflammation and or infection. So the worst score is 350. That was when I had a sinus infection. And then those dirty keto foods, that peaked it up right here too at 323. So you want to keep this below 300. So even when I was detoxing, I still kept the glyc below 300. And right now it's at 296. So I'm very happy about that and I feel so much better. The small molecule particle number has to do with toxicity. So when I had the gas leak, my score was 11.7. You want this up like 18, 19. And then 1 month later, after I stopped breathing in the gas, it went up to 17.1, which is awesome. And then it dropped down a little bit. It got a little bit worse because I had that sinus infection. Then I recovered from that, started detoxing. When you're detoxing, this gets worse. It looks worse in the blood test, but whatever, I dealt with it. And then I was eating the dirty keto mixed nuts and the organic protein bar, feeling worse here. Now I'm recovering. Now I'm at 16.1. I want to get back up into the 17s, start detoxing hardcore again, and get that up 18, 19. That's the goal. Get the small molecule particles up to 18, 19. This is digestive function. So again, with that gas leak, it was terrible at 59. You want that in the 40s. But very quickly, I got it down to 47 just by not breathing in gas. But then I had the sinus infection, which would drip mucus into my stomach, postnasal drip, swallowing mucus. That disrupts your gut, makes your stomach bloated, prevents proper digestion of food, creates an environment where bad bacteria and fungus, etc., candida can live. Parasites can live because of infections here getting into your stomach and small intestine. So I handled that and I got it all the way down to 44. I was very happy about that. Started detoxing, went up over into this area. Then I ate the bad food that I admit to, and it went all the way up to 57. I was feeling terrible. Like I told you, my muscles felt like glue. Now it's down to 45. So there is not a single better lab test than MVX Plus to find out how healthy you are and where your weak points are and what to do about them and to track progress and then pivot to the next subject that your body's begging for relief from. Now this is citrate. This is mitochondrial function. I'm averaging around 2. I want to keep it below 2. So right now I'm at 1.93. I'm happy about that. I had it down to 1.64, whatever, that's fine. But that citrate is it's too high when it's at 2.44. Okay, these are my amino acids, valine, leucine, and isoleucine. So you can see the trend is moving up. You want this valine to be around 200. So I started off at 170, that's too low. And my appetite was wrecked when I had the gas leak. So when I fixed the gas leak, it went up to 275. So I'm digesting more protein or eating more protein, or I'm not sure exactly what happened here. But now my score is around 250, 260. And I think I need to go back on vitamin B1, or there's something going on where I want this to come down a little bit. So there's the valine. Same thing with leucine. That should be more around 110. I've had it as low as 78. There's 90. There's 81. But the average now here, the trend averages around 113. Right now it's at 133. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Not too bad. It's not too bad at all. And then the isoleucine should be more around 55. So yeah, it's trending up. Now I'm at 58. Not a big deal at all. I'm very happy with my amino acid status, my digestion function, my B1. And it all comes down to this MMX. The MMX is a combination of the citrate, valine, leucine, and isoleucine. And as long as your MMX is in the 40s, you should be happy. Here's a 63-year-old male who had a stroke 2 years ago. And we're going to go through his scores. His first MVX score was 60, which is way too high. He changed his diet, quit the bread, and he dropped his MVX down to 42 and 34. And like, that's amazing right there. And then on this score, he was at 43. Why? Because he fasted for 3 days, and then he got his blood drawn for this lab right here. You can't fast that long. You have to only fast for like 10 to 12 hours. So you go to bed, wake up in the morning, no breakfast, go to LabCorp, get your blood drawn, and you only fasted 10 to 12 hours, not 3 days. And then you got it back down to 38. Let's look at his IVX inflammation. So it's just trending down with the supplements. I put him on anti-parasitic supplements. I put him on detox products, kidney support. And like I said, he improved his diet dramatically. And with the fasting day, he went up to 33 with the IVX. I mean, it's not bad. The IVX in the 20s is absolutely phenomenal. So he's on the right track. He's talking faster. He's thinking faster. Glyc A is infection and or inflammation. Look at that. It was at 527. And he got it down to 327 in literally 3 weeks. And now he's hanging around 300. This is at 299. Now he's at 309. So yeah, that's awesome. Awesome progress. Small cell particle number is toxicity. He was at 10.6. Now he's at 15.8. He added up to 17.2. So based on the supplements and the amount of detoxing that we're doing, it can kind of bounce around a little bit, but the goal is higher. The goal is 18, 19. So there's a little bit of work to do there. Nobody's complaining. So the MMX, that's his diet and B1 status and protein status and digestion ability. It should be in the 40s. It was in the 40s here. Now it's at 52. So there's some tweaking I need to do for him to bring that back down, like 3 points and 5 points. The citrate should be below 2.0. This is mitochondrial function. And so he's at 1.87 now, which is awesome. The valine should be around 200. He's at 180. I'm happy about that. He should be happy too. Leucine should be around 110. This one's bouncing around on him. This is really high here when he fasted. And then it crashed down to 84. But we went that up a little bit. Not that big of a deal. And the isoleucine should be at 55. Again, when he was fasting, it doubled. It more than doubled at 104. So now it's at 33. But we want it at 50. So some tweaking there, not too bad. Let's talk about this guy. He's a 76-year-old male. And his first score 5 months ago in the summer of 2025 was 41. Not too bad, but last week we got the results and his score is 20. So this is mid-October. 20 he's in the top 5%. We've run this on 1,000 people since January of 2025. He's in the top 5% and he's 76 years old. Let's look at how long he's going to live. Okay, down here, right below me, look, less than 35. So he's all the way down here. His chance of mortality in the next 5 years is like 0.5%. It's all the way down here. So he's happy, I'm happy, his wife is happy. His inflammation vulnerability index started off really good in the 20s already at 22, and now it's at 15. That's even better. His glyc A should be below 300, so being at 307 is really pretty good. Now it's at 298, so it's dropping a little bit, which is awesome. His small cell particle also started off really good at 18. Okay, and now it's at 19.3, so that's better. That's toxicity. Here's where the major improvement came in for him. It's the B1 status digestion protein. So his MMX, metabolic malnutrition index, was at 65. Now it's at 45. You want this in the 40s. What do we do to bring his MMX down? Well, we had to add protein. I gave him a protein powder. So his valine went up from 163 to 225. We want that around 200, so that's awesome. And here's the isoleucine. That should be 55. It was 35. Now it's up to 52. So his protein status is better. The leucine should be 110. He went from 50 to 119. So his branched chain amino acids got better. That means he's digesting his meat better. He's eating more meat. His B1 status is better. So all these things put together, combined with citrate, it should be below 2.0. So it was 2.12. Now it's 1.66. So put all those four things together, and that's why his MMX went from 65 down into the 40s, making his overall MVX score 20. Very impressive. So if you're interested in testing your own health with this MVX Plus blood test, I highly recommend it. It's at LabCorp. You have to go there to the lab to get your blood drawn. It's one little vial. You can order the requisition from us. Go to the front page of our website, upper right corner, it says MVX test. Click on that, fill out the form that opens up in the next tab. My office will contact you to collect payment. We'll get to the requisition to you. Go to the LabCorp website, find your nearest location, set an appointment, go fasted in the morning. You have to print off the requisition and hand it to them when you walk into the office. Find out where your score is. I've had people who are not patients get this score done, and they're in their 70s and their score is like 25, which is amazing. And I reach out to them and they're like detoxing, they're eating the right foods. If you need help to lower your score, contact us to become a patient. I'm trying to get as many doctors as possible to run this test. This test is the revolution in healthcare. It personalizes and individualizes your care. The lab tells you what to do next, and it is geared at physiology, making your cells work better. It's not genetics, it's not pathology, it's not risk factors, it's not symptoms, it's physiology. When you have perfectly functioning cells, name the disease. There's no diseases when your cells are perfectly functioning. I'm recording this video on a Friday. As a matter of fact, 4 days ago on Monday, I spoke directly to RFK Jr. about this lab test. I don't know how much power he has to spread this across the country. I've talked to 2,000 doctors about this, either live on stage or on a live Zoom call. And it seems like 1 out of every 100 doctors I talk to, they sign up for mvxtraining.com. That's my website where I'm sending doctors to take my MVX course. I'm also adding other courses on B1 and lactic acidosis and some other subjects. So I'm trying to get as many doctors as possible to run this MVX test. It just is very helpful. And obviously, if you're not a doctor, you're a patient, you can get your doctor to run this lab through LabCorp. It's number 123601. The wholesale cost is crazy cheap. And as you saw, I have a lot of people running it every 6 weeks. And I run it on myself once a month. Now you know about the most important blood test for human health, and now you can take action on it. The links are below.